Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be continuing our OSI model layer. We are left to discuss session layer, presentation layer and application layer. Today we'll be covering session layer, presentation layer and application layer. So let's move to session layer. Session layer, it creates communication channel and controls port and session. It establishes, maintains and ends a session. So its main responsibility is to establish, maintain and end a session between devices and a server. First day, it is also responsible for dialogue control and coordinate communication between the system. Session layer enables two systems to enter into a dialogue communication. So we'll be discussing how session layer works with a real world example, don't you worry. So function of session layer, let's look at the function of session layer. So function of session layer is to obviously session establishment, maintenance and termination. The layer allows the two processes to establish, use and terminate a connection, right? Synchronization, this layer allows a process to add a checkpoint that are considered a synchronization point in the data. This is one of the most important thing of a session layer. This synchronization point helps to identify the error so that data is resynchronized properly and end of the messages are not caught prematurely and data loss is avoided. So what it does is synchronization, it prevents from data loss even if the connection is lost for a bit period of time. Another function is dialogue controller. The session layer allows two systems to start communication with each other in full duplex or half duplex. So obviously this looks like kind of a vague, right? Let's look at the real world example of how session layer actually works, right? So what it does is it opens the session. Obviously first it opens the session, the main work of session layer. So imagine you're downloading a movie, right? So when you click download, right, the session layer connects your computer to the movie server. It confirms who you are and establish the office's dialogue. So after that, it dialogue control, it manages traffic. The session layer decides how the data flow. It sets the connection to full duplex. This allows the server to send you the movie, right, while your computer simultaneously sends back the received confirmation. So another is checkpointing, another function of our session layer. The session layer intercepts a checkpoint every 1 megabyte, right? At 5 gigabyte, your Wi-Fi suddenly, say for example a scenario, your Wi-Fi suddenly drops for a minute. Instead of throwing away the 5 gigabyte and starting over from the start, right, the session layer looks at the last checkpoint. Once the Wi-Fi reconnects, the download resume exactly where it left off. So another is at last it closed the session. The movie finished downloading. The session layer ensures all the data are received safely, right, and it closes the connection so the server can free up the resources for other users. So this is basically how session layer operates, right? Another is presentation layer. So the presentation layer is also known as the translation layer. The data from the application layer is extracted and manipulated as per the requirement format of the transmit over the network. As you can see from application layer to the translator layer, there is a compression, translation and everything is done in presentation layer, and it's sent to the session layer, and from session layer same thing to presentation layer and moves to application layer. This should be application layer. Presentation layer is responsible to translate compressed encryption and decryption data, obviously, and encryption layer is mainly concerned with the syntax and semantic of the information exchange between two systems. It is very plain and simple, very straightforward. Again, function of presentation layer, translation. For example, ASCII to EC, EBC, DIC. Encryption, decryption. Data encryption translate the data into another form, which is ciphertext, and decryption into plain text. A key value is used for encrypting as well as decrypting data. So compression reduces the number of bits that need to be transmitted on the network. Again, we'll see a real life example of how this presentation layer actually works. But I'll give a gist overview. So presentation layer is basically its main role is to translate. It is used to translate the data structure, and it is used for encryption and decryption. obviously, and compression. So this is the main function of presentation layer. And let's look at the example. Okay, first translation. It speaks the same language. Your phone might store data differently than a desktop computer or an Android tablet or a iOS devices, right? The presentation layer converts your message from your phone specific software format to a universal network layer, which is a UDF-8 or a ASCII. So that your desktop can also understand, and your phone can understand the data that is stored in your phone data. So this ensures that no matter what the devices the other person is using, right, the text won't look gibberish. So that is the main logic over here. Another is encryption. So basically, when you hit send, right, when you hit send, before the message leaves the device, the presentation layer scrambles them, basically encrypts them, and the text and a photo is photo into a secure code. So even if a hacker intercepts it, right, they only see a random characters. When it reaches the receiver, the presentation layer on the receiver side unscramble or decrypt it back into a original message. So that is basically how it is done. Another is compression. So high resolution images takes a long time to send them, right? The presentation layer compresses the photo data to make the file size small. This allows the message to travel across the internet instantly without wasting your mobile data or internet data. So the receiver's presentation layer decompresses it so they can see the full images. So basically, you will get the same resolution of the data, but what presentation layer does is it resizes the file size, and what it does is once it reaches the receiver side, it decompresses it, and you get the same resolution of the image. So that is basically how presentation layer works. One with translation, encryption, and compression. Another layer is application layer. So application layer allows access to network accesses. It is the highest layer of OSI layer, and it is the closest layer for user as well. In this application layer, an application such as internet browser gets the data, and a user can then interact with it. So application layer helps to identify communication partner, determining resources availability, and synchronization communication. As you can see, we as a user, we use application layer such as browser and all, and the presentation layer is this. So let's move at the function of application layer. So obviously, file transfer, access, and management. An application layer allows a user to access the file in a remote computer, to retrieve the file from a computer, and manages the file in a remote computer. Another is mail services. An application layer provides the facility for email forwarding and storage. Another main important function is directory services. An application provides the distributed database resources and is used to provide the global information about various objects. So a distributed database resource means the resources are not only stored in a not only stored in a single computer or a single server, but it is stored in multiple places, and it is used to provide the global information. So global information about various objects. So object is anything that is over the internet, right? So anything over the internet like user, password, printer, detail of everything. And global information means that you can access the object from anywhere in the world. So basically that is what it means. So let's look at the example of how our application layer works. So imagine you work at massive global company. So what you want to do is you want to log into your computer and print a document. So how application layer works is you open a computer and type in your user and password, right? This is application layer set, and the directory service function or a service action, which is the function of our application layer. In the background, an application layer protocol like LDAP or Active Directory for a Windows talks to a network distributed database, and it looks up the directory services, checks its phone book and to verify who you are actually and what your password is, and automatically once it verifies, you are allowed to use a printer. Okay, so that is basically how it works, and the result is you are granted access and automatically connects you to the printer on a third floor, second floor, first floor, whatever floor you are, and you don't know where the printer was physically located. So it shows you automatically because you don't know where the printer was physically located or what its IP address is. The directory service found it for you. you might be wondering what is the PDU. These are data. So this some presentation application is data. So thank you guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Keep learning. Thank you.